All of this has happened before, and all this will happen again and again.
A battlestar is a very large ship. Do you agree, Commander Modi?
Admiral Lawson pointed to the small box, half full, less than a cubic meter of debris. Included some pieces of electronics, some bits of hull. There were definite signs that Saturn was somewhere nearby, sometime recently. It was obvious that it was involved in a battle, perhaps up to 12. This was because, due to a shortage of parts, or the time to use the Mercury's foundry to manufacture parts, the SAR birds of the Solaria were, when time permitted, sucking debris into large bags. These desperate efforts to save themselves had on at least 12 occasions picked up debris that could be traced with certainty to the Battlestar Saturn. Curious, there was very little evidence as to when that battle occurred and what the outcome was. This could have been a psychological action from the Cylons to give the humans hope and then crush it. This was more the type of thing a skin job like Cavill would pull. The mechanical Cylons, which were the only types they'd seen in 3 weeks since the nap, were more into brute force. The debris had to have come from the Saturn. That gave hope. Commander Modi smiled, knowing the Admiral was thinking aloud. It was how she brainstormed.
We at least agree that a cubic meter of debris, picked up in a dozen different jump points, is not enough to account for the Battlestar Saturn?
Standard protocol is to leave a data packet, a small device with a signal made for us to pick up. The Saturn has dozens of the devices on the board and can manufacture them anytime it needs to. Yet we have not found one of these devices. It's called the Breadcrumb 1.0.
The two women of less than average height stood in a room off the repair bay for the air wing in the starboard flight pod of the Battlestar Mercury. The computer experts had explained the issues. The Cylons more than likely intercepted the buoy, even if the Saturn had even bothered to leave one behind.
Commander Modi, your idea is to risk our most valuable asset, Captain Miller. Put him on a Raptor, fly to the Cylon comms array, board it and hope the Raptors don't get their lights shot out on the way, or shot by the toasters on the comms array. What did you call it? Operation Can Opener.
First, I want you to know I did talk to Captain Miller about this. He is confident that the toasters have mostly neglected the network in the time that has passed since the last battle in Operation Magic Trick. One of the things we learned about the Cylons is that the programming talent mostly came from the humanoids. Certainly, during the First War of the Cylons did a lot of hacking, and they used brute force of the collective compute power to overwhelm us in many battles. That was 90 years ago, however, and things have changed. Captain Miller has demonstrated to my satisfaction that humans have more talent for innovation than a machine.
So what are we supposed to do? Are we to delay during battle conditions with toasters surrounding us and hitting us with gunships and missiles and fighters while Captain Miller and his hackers and the Marine escorts attempt to invade a Cylon communications array?
I think the best way to go is to go small and light, perhaps 3 assault raptors and 2 recon birds. We have built up a good local navigational database as we jumped around looking for the Battlestar Saturn and watching our combat capabilities fall by 40%. We do not have an infinite amount of time here.
Admiral Lawson looked pale and ill, as she had every one of the 3 weeks they had spent trying to get to New Helios after the nap. She gestured at the metal box. Near the top was a flashlight with the logo of the Battlestar Saturn on the handle. It amazed her that people found time to craft such items as they ran from their enemy, who very nearly had made the human race extinct. We can keep our jump database secure, Captain Thomas. Head geek. Miller spoke as he walked from the deck gang, many of whom had stepped away from their repair backlogs to give him a high five. Miller had always thought of himself as a blue-collar kind of a guy.
I certainly hope you did not hack my calendar to get this meeting appointment.
Guessing your password, Admiral Lawson, hardly reaches the level of a hack or a crack.
So much for the concept of private meetings of the senior command.
Okay, Admiral, this is pretty simple. Most of the skin job toasters died in the Civil War. 3 models joined up with the old man, Admiral Adama, and are now in the 40th year of a very long camping trip. CNP was not Baltar's work. He had a PR image that exceeded his programming skills. I think it was the Model 6 he hung around with at the Defense Ministry in Caprica City.
It's that easy to put a program into the Cylon network that knows how to hack its way into Saturn?
That's not it at all, Admiral Lawson. It's built-in design arrogance. The Cylon network has operated now for almost 90 years on the assumption that all traffic is authorized. They never considered the possibility that anybody can get onto their network without authorization. They said the security was too complex for any human to decrypt. Design arrogance. They seem to have forgotten that humans invented the Cylon. Most of my hacks over the course of the war simply pretended to be routine message traffic. Reported shipment of this to that place, etc., etc., etc. I worked for Commander Ramirez for 8 years before the fall. I was her all-star, and that didn't stop when she took over command of the Saturn. She and her staff know how to communicate with us in the event we are separated. We may even find a message waiting for us when we hack in.
If this works, we will save a lot of time fighting our way around this gigantic sea of rocks.
All right, the mission is approved. Try not to get yourself shot, captured, or killed.
I have my best crews ready to fly with him and the toughest Marines in the colonial fleet.
Commander Modi and Captain Miller smiled at each other. Admiral Lawson felt like she was going to throw up. She thought better of discussing the obvious energy between the pair. The fact was that HG was attached to her command. That was enough separation to overlook any relationship. This and the optics were bad, even though her own relationship with Stanley Jacobs was actually registered with Colonial Fleet HR.
Admiral, all ships signal ready for combat jump. Birds are in the tubes, ready to launch on the other side.
This is Mercury Actual. Jump the fleet.
Jump complete. The air wing is launching. No contacts yet. Contacts. 2 heavies, 3 light, 5 unidentified. We are scanning for the Saturn.
Yikes! That was close. Brake right, brake, brake, brake. Got a pair on your tail nugget.
Rook, pair of razors on your tail. Brake left. Never fly straight and level more than 5 seconds in combat.
Squadron-sized raider group approaching Mercury's port flight pod. Took a hit. Damage is light. Popped a few breakers. Playing through. Hey Nugget, watch your flight leader.
Engaging.
Brake right, you got a raider on your tail. Brake, brake, brake.
Squadron braking left, focusing on gunship. Big Battlestar's looking good pilots. Let's keep it that way.
Viper 783 reports a recon Raptor wreck, cold electronically, says it may be from Saturn Air Wing. We have not lost any recon birds this hop, sir.
Signal to head geek. Stand by for launch.
Replied ready.
Mercury has come across a wrecked Raptor, cold. Viper 783 indicates it may be part of the Saturn's air wing.
Is the Force Recon ready for launch?
Yes, Commander. Units are ready to launch both Battlestars.
Recall the air wing. Spool for combat jump. We will launch Force Recon after the jump.
Force Recon has launched, preparing to jump away.
Hopefully our jump will be enough to keep the toasters focused on us.
I hope so, Admiral. Admiral, the Force Recon has jumped away.
All right, let's deal with some toasters. We must remember to check our email or text messages for signs of HG's hack. Launch Enhanced Combat Air Patrol.
Contacts 4 unidentified. Lot of jamming. Maybe launching raiders.
Time to make a bunch of mama toasters cry. Weapons free and by the numbers, folks.
300 Raiders, Mark 1 First War, CBDR.
Brake right, you got a raider on your tail. Brake, brake, brake.
Radiological alarm. Beacon down.
Yikes, that was close. Brake right, brake, brake, brake. You got a pair on your tail nugget.
All right, this is the Admiral. Recall all birds. Launch the SAR birds with the doctors embedded. Airwing, are we going to get the Rakvet Lancer found?
HG took most of the good parts. We were left with very little.
Well, he probably can make better use of the data than we can. If he finds something important, he promises me a text message. I hope I remember my password.
Port pod taking fire?
Contacts, as expected? Looks like a dozen ships, mostly gunships.
Implement our plan. Show them the left side armor.
Squadron, on me. Escort clearance zone is active. Escort
fire?
We're taking internal damage. We need to jump out of here. Fracking now.
We are at full defense posture. Armor failure expected.
Damage control team stand by.
Missiles inbound.
Helm, turn to port. Fire missile salvo. Bow batteries fire as soon as you have a firing solution.
35 seconds until the planned turn to port. Port pod is already taking some hits.
Continue on plan to segment 2 of the S-turn. Sync the turn with Solaria. Breathing gear. All port pod personnel breathing gear right fracking now.
Port pod taking damage. Armor down. Armor down.
We are being hit hard on the bow. Armor failure is predicted.
thing. Can't see anything through this glass.
Cracking poet, always making jokes while we have to figure out how to fix his latest way to break a bird.
Shrapnel hits on all 3 engines. 2 of his guns were jammed this time.
Kowalski, why are you scraping off his nameplate? 2 rules on my repair deck. First, we never worry about nameplates during combat. Second, it's bad luck to clean the nameplates.
Medbay, just let me know, Chief, because he's my cousin. Poet just passed in the operating room.
I'm sorry, Kowalski.
Admiral Eva Lawson stood in the Combat Information Center. She was not relaxed in any way. Her stance was to say the least rigid, if not stiff. Her complexion was gray. When she was not thinking, her hand seemed to instinctually move to her stomach. During the past few hours, the fleet had fought 3 battles. They had encountered a few pieces and parts that were probably from the Battlestar Saturn. There have been no communications from HG, Captain Miller. The officer of the deck handed Lawson a tablet computer. With her fingerprints, she approved a few orders and supply moves. A list of the recent dead was also on the screen. The number of wounded was astounding. Several sections to the ship had vented into space. It was so surprising because the number was so low. Even after a 39-year nap, which didn't feel like 39 years, the crew had gelled together and reacted. As the size of the fleet had grown in the past, she was always taking experienced crew members off the Mercury and assigning them to positions of greater responsibility on other ships. For 4 weeks there was no place to transfer anybody. The crew has started to come together. They started to act as a team. They started to care about the quality of the work. They always cared, but they were showing pride of ownership now. They weren't looking for a new position or promotion. They were looking to check back into the lives that they lost when the FTL jump shot them straight towards a star. They had already seen how an uncle or cousin, like Scotty, had changed and grown up over 39 years. Many were curious to meet friends and relatives left behind. Just then, the tablet made a beeping noise. A graphic logo popped up. It was a bouncing pineapple. This was the graphic logo of the mobile phone company she had purchased her service from when she was home on Toron. A sexy male voice spoke in a come-hither sultry tone. "You have a text message, Admiral." Admiral Eva Lawson was almost afraid to touch the icon on the tablet. This had to be HG. This was just the kind of humorous thing he would do. A video message came up.
Head Geek here. Cylon Network has been hacked, cracked, and is totally my bitch. I am attaching a data bucket with all the DRADIS information and other telemetry on the Saturn. As of this message, 30 minutes before the actual time on the tablet, the Saturn is still in one piece, mostly. Why did you ever doubt the power of Head Geek? Seriously, they came pretty close to getting her about 2 hours ago. Their algorithm, which is the worst piece of AI in the history of toasters, predicted a 24% chance that the Saturn had been destroyed. Not my GF Commander Ramirez, aka former boss. The actual sitrep is that they did deal Saturn some serious damage. The FTL data showed some unusual frequencies, but it seems pretty clear to me that they did jump away. I am sitting next to a can opener version 1.2 communications array, and I am getting data packets once or twice an hour. If we stay frosty, we will be able to calculate a meeting point and become a fleet again. Hanging out here is making my Marines and pilots nervous. Watch for text messages.
There was a break, then another message.
Prepare to jump in 3, 2, 1.
We have a problem, Admiral. My code, now embedded into the toaster network, has a planned jump point where we can perhaps meet with the Battlestar Saturn. She is not there yet, but the place is crawling with toasters. If they jump in there, they will be met by a dozen First War gunships. I have added a program for your calculations. It will take you a few kilometers away from the planned ambush. Sorry, boss.
Admiral Lawson turned to the officer of the deck. She handed over a USB stick with the coordinates on it.
That's funny, Admiral.
There is nothing funny about this Lieutenant Junior grade.
The Air Wing just got back from recon on these coordinates. They were hammered seconds after the jump. 2 pilots, badly wounded. The place is crawling with toasters. It's a fracking toaster convention.
Recall the Air Wing. Begin jump prep. Prepare for a combat jump in 15 minutes.
That's suicide, sir.
We have 15 minutes to make it not be suicide. Maybe we use nukes. Let's think about this.
Set condition 1. I repeat, set condition 1. This is not a drill. Open racks and engage. Watch your intervals, people.
These video files are from the jump coordinates you insist we jump to, Admiral. The CAG has reported all birds in the tubes ready for a combat jump. He has objected to these tactical orders.
The Admiral reached to her headset and put herself on fleet wide.
This is the Admiral. We know where Saturn plans to be in 30 minutes. If we don't try to clear the area first, they die. I know it seems impossible. I just can't live with myself if we don't try. This is not an order. Anyone not wanting to fight and likely die for their brothers and sisters on the Saturn may stay behind on shuttles or the Celestra-class freighter. Nobody will think less of you for the decision.
There was a long pause.
The mission is classified as voluntary. Participation rate 100%. Complete jump prep and commence with the countdown. Good hunting.
So say we all.
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 So say
So say we all.
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 Open racks and engage. Drive spooled. On your mark, Captain. Firing solution is online.